Welcome to Seeing This. I am the movie Mamba, Mike Ornelas, and I survived TIFF. Joining me on the call is the Feisty Pisces, Erica McMullen.
We had a fashionista at TIFF.
And also on the call is the Gerber baby-faced assassin, Adrian Cedeno.
Man, I thought Gilgamesh was the villain from the Smurfs.
That's all in reference to the Toronto International Film Festival, which I just got back from. Fortunately, I was able to get a few screeners for our wonderful co-hosts here, Erica and Adrian. So we'll be talking about a few of the movies in which I got to interview either director and actor. So stay tuned for that. But before we get to that, season 2, episode 2, we're back. How are we feeling? Erica's got a new hairdo.
I do have a new hairdo.
She's currently looking for the 3 other Beatles to join her for Halloween. So
either that, or if someone can like dress up as Kim Kardashian, and then I can dress up as Kris Kardashian and just like tell her she's doing amazing the whole time. Something, I don't know. You know?
You got options. You got options.
No, I actually have a very funny and very me Halloween costume that I will not say because I want it to be a surprise for some people.
Are we gonna record for Halloween and get you dressed up?
We'll
do a
totally
costume episode.
Could. That would be hilarious. I would definitely be down.
Okay. Are we coordinating, or we're
Halloween.
just our own? We're doing our own. And everyone gets the reveal when we do the episode.
Yeah, that could be fine.
We'll figure it out.
I got a couple. I mean, I could be Liza Minnelli. I could be a lot of people right now.
I feel like somebody in The Sound of Music has short hair like that too.
Oh,
it's a little preview of
I could
upcoming
be Sister
episode.
Maria. I can't sing like Sister Maria.
We'll have The Sound of Music coming up next for our anniversary, 50 years. No, 60 years. 60 years, yeah. So stay tuned for that. But today, I'm talking TIFF. I just got back. I was there for a week. I didn't get to be there at the very beginning. I was very ambitious in my scheduling.
Yes.
I planned to see 27 movies at TIFF while having like 5 movies that I was able to see before TIFF, which helped with the scheduling. All in all, I think I ended up seeing 22. I had to...
You're insane.
Yeah, in 7 days.
That's still so crazy.
Yeah, it's about what, 3 movies a day.
Yeah.
There was a day that I think Tuesday was my big one where I had 5 movies in a day. I saw The Sun once. So just to explain, at Toronto at TIFF, the whole festival takes place in a radius of like maybe 5 blocks, and within those 5 blocks, there's 5 different theaters. Right? You got Scotiabank Theater. You got the TIFF Lightbox, which is kind of headquarters for TIFF. You've got the Royal Alexandra Hall. You got the Princess of Wales Theater, and then you have the Roy Thompson Theater. The latter 3 are all like huge theaters with large balconies. You know, there's like theatrical plays that happen there. So huge venue to get all the cinephiles from around the world to watch a movie. What a fucking experience to go into a movie with people that love movies. I'll start there. Each movie, you know how like when you go to an AMC or a Regal, you have like all your fucking buy Pepsi, buy this bullshit. Here's a car commercial randomly. Like,
yeah,
there's just no shame in the ads. For TIFF, it was fucking beautiful. They open up with probably the best thing ever. And they do this even outside of TIFF. When I lived in Toronto and you go to the movies, they'll do a land acknowledgement and mention all of the indigenous people's land that we are on. And they acknowledge and are thankful to be recording or be on this land. It always gets a round of applause after they show that. And then it goes into like sponsored ads like Rogers, which is the telecommunication. It's like the AT&T, if you will, of Canada. And they have an ad, but it's like they're showing, let's say, an action movie or a horror movie. And the actor's like, aren't people tired of this? It's just another sequel. You know, it's just like they're making a commentary on like what kind of movies are coming out. And like people want real romance. People want, you know, like actual good movies. So I appreciated the creativity coming from a corporate ad. And then Cineplex, which is like the movie chain out there, they try to push forward what I did my opening line with, TIFF, because it's the 50th year at TIFF. So it shows like a volunteer trying to get everyone to say Tifty, and it's a whole thing. And then like a fake movie celebrity drops his notebook, gives it back, and he's like, "Happy Tifty." And then everyone like cheers after each time in the audience. There's just a round of applause because it's like, here's the Tifty more, right? So that was awesome. And then they have like a TIFF announcement on the screen that says, and no video recording, no photography, all this. And what the audience does there is everyone will go "Arr" for the pirates. So it's just very interactive. There's an ad for Varda, which is a bar inside of TIFF where it's like creative minds come here to have a drink or whatever the hell. But the way the music goes, like you clap along with it, and everyone just knew when to engage. It was just super cool to have that environment going into a movie. So got to do that 22 times or whatever I said. So I got all the beats down for next time. But what I wanted to do for this episode is touch base on some of the movies that stood out. Like I said, I was able to send a few screeners to you guys. Shout out to the publicists that were able to make that happen. Shout out to the employees at each of the theaters, the volunteers, the people of Toronto, just everyone that I talked to was incredibly pleasant, incredibly happy, awesome. And considering how many people are there, what a logistical nightmare. People still had great attitudes, and people just like, you're standing in line for a movie and you're just chatting it up with people. And then you run into these same people throughout the week. Super cool communal experience. But yeah, want to talk about a few movies that we have interviews for. 2 of those are already out. I believe Under the Same Sun, at Bajo el Mismo Sol. I got to talk with the director, Ulysses Bajo, there. And then also Wrong Husband, which I don't think I sent to you guys, right? Did you guys? No, didn't get that one. That actually won Best Canadian Feature at TIFF by the director Zacharias Kunis. Got to talk with him, got to meet the cast, all Inuit first-time actors, and we kind of talk about that in the interview. So seeingthispod.com, check out my review and interview. And I've been rambling, so let's get to it. There was 292 movies at TIFF. So when I say I saw 22, there's still a lot of movies that I missed that there was a buzz around, right? 20 TIFF screenings, one in conversation with The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I got to see him talk, which I didn't have a lot of anticipation for because,
it's The Rock. You could say it.
I mean, dude, middle school me was ecstatic. Right. Like,
you were happy to see him for other reasons than him being an actor, and that's
he was
like
smelling what The Rock was cooking.
Yeah, I mean, in middle
school,
you were
excited to see him because he was a very big part of
correct.
He's the only reason I could do this,
and it's like when
I could do this right here.
Yeah. I mean, 8th grade, if you look at the yearbook, I got the eyebrow in every fucking picture. I was that asshole.
I have seen you.
You've probably seen it. Yeah. So I had to go see him. And honestly, like, it came off very genuine and like talked about his career, talked about his dad, talked about like this opportunity for the Smashing Machine, which is what he's promoting and he's in. One I didn't get to see, but I'll be seeing next week. But yeah, it was awesome to see that and all the movies that I got to see. So there's 4 movies I shared with you guys, as I mentioned, and I got to do interviews with all of them. 2 of which are out. That's right. Bajo el Mismo Sol, as I mentioned, as well as Irkalla, Gilgamesh's Dream, which is a reference to Adrian's opening line. He's not the villain in the Smurfs.
I know, and that's the one that that was the one that I was planning on watching next. Obviously, I've had like the craziest week, so I was a little bit busy, but Under the Same Sun, Bajo was so good.
Okay, so we're starting there. We're starting there.
We're starting here because I can't contain myself anymore.
We'll open it up. What did you think? What stood out to you?
I loved it. I thought it was so good. It had me on my seat a couple times where I'm like, because it's so nice when you have films like this where like, there's certain films where, we're subjected to where you kind of like there's no risk involved. So like it doesn't really seem like I mean, I'm sure we talked about it with Fantastic Four where it was like you guys were talking about like, you knew kind of what was going to happen the whole time. You never fucking know what's happening. you never quite know the direction it's going to go in. You know that there's conflict happening. You know that there's many different factors that can ruin this opportunity that they have.
So for
And
little
Do we
context,
want the
I
let's
know I'm
letterbox
trying to like
Yeah.
say it without
well
any of
well
the
s-
spoilers as
we'll
much as
we'll, we'll do
possible.
we'll do Adrian's letterboxed description for each.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with Bajo Mismo Sol. What do we got?
2025, directed by Ulises Porra. 1819, a young Spanish heir, a Chinese weaver, and a Haitian deserter struggle to find their place and humanity in the tense cultural crossroads of the colonial Caribbean. They embark on the ambitious endeavor of establishing a silk factory in the very heart of the island of Hispaniola.
There we go. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, Erica.
Sorry. I just get
No,
so
no, no.
excited. I know, and
I love it.
I'm trying to describe it with no context.
Yeah, you could provide some context of like what it's about without necessarily like, our typical spoiler-free
Yeah, no,
review.
I think I'm starting to realize that that's the type of movie I like the most, is where their humanity is really tested, in
Mm.
every single turn in this film. It's a matter of making a decision that's going to affect all not just like a lot of people, because it's not necessarily a lot. It's very like everybody's out for themselves at this point.
Mm.
Rightfully so, with how everything that's kind of happening in the area at the time, like every man for himself. Like it really is survival of the fittest at
For
this
sure.
point. But I just the story, the ending got me so good. Like I loved it. It was
Nice.
just so
Nice.
good. I'm like actually very happy that you were able to interview and talk and kind of get the gist of like behind
And
the scenes of like the thought process. But I loved it. I
yeah,
loved this movie.
I love that. Yeah, Ulysses was an awesome person to interview, person in general, but he's a Spanish director and he kind of talks about like, I asked him, how do you approach this movie being Spaniard yourself? And you kind of portray the Spaniard in this in a certain light, right? And he made an awesome point where he's like, colonization is a bit of a double-edged sword. Like there's a lot of benefit that did come out of it, but it's also a very dark time,
Ugly. Just so
Yeah.
ugly. But yeah.
Adrian, I happened to be texting you, or I think maybe I FaceTimed you at one point, and you were in the middle of this and you had some thoughts. What did you think about Under the Same Sun?
I enjoyed it. It was interesting. I don't know what I thought of it. The ending kind of threw me for a loop where I'm not sure if what I was initially thinking was accurate, as far as
Mm,
like who's who, the villain, the
mm.
hero, you know what I mean? Like who are the protagonists, the antagonists, kind of stuff like that. Like as I'm breaking down this movie, like, oh, maybe I was wrong the whole time. I really appreciated the notion that it felt accurate, because it did feel like he did provide, man, this sucks. It's colonization. Like this is, how the Spaniards took over my people. Like it sucks to see, but at the same time, like there is beauty in that, and what has come from it. So I appreciated it. I definitely feel like I should buy myself some silk sheets now.
For
Very
sure.
least.
And
They're
not take
good
it for
for
Very
granted.
least,
they're good for your skin, they're good for your hair.
Yeah, and it's amazing how, like you said, accurate to history it was, because there was many attempts to export and grow and build silk factories in the Caribbean at that time, and
Well, and
I
then
Illegally,
was
you know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah, well, and then you have like the French aspect as well, so
correct.
it's so it's like that divorcee child, right? You having to like choose between the evils. Like say you have two evil parents, you got to choose between which one. So you have like these two superpowers in their eyes, because it's not anything that they can defend against. And then
Right.
you have these scenarios where you're going to work for whatever kind of money you can, but you also need to be like, hey, like my work is worth more than this and everybody's out here for survival. Like you need to be
Yeah.
paying me. what
And
we're
it's
worth.
just
I found it beautiful, like the notion that it was a Haitian, like a black Haitian, a light skinned Spaniard, and then, you know, a Chinese girl. And the dynamic between the three, like
like the hierarchy between that and
not
kind of
necessarily the
at that
hierarchy,
time.
but obviously there's racism, and obviously racism still existed
I
then. Like they're
mean,
considered slaves, and they considered,
very
you know, just
heavily
Orientals.
implied that she's
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
bought with
Yeah.
the
Correct.
other
So
things that, yeah.
Right.
so the whole notion that they're able to work their different through their differences, one language being a big difference, and still have the common goal of, hey, let's make something happen here,
Yeah. Yeah.
is a beautiful concept. Like, why can't we do that, you know?
Yeah. Shout out who played my Valentina Shenwu, her first movie. You know, I got to talk to Ulysses about that. Her
Stunning.
first movie, incredible performance, like such a natural.
Well, and throughout the whole thing too, she's very severe, very, and especially just knowing like how Asian culture is, it's very normal. It's very normal to not be expressive, to not show emotion, to keep that in. It's very much reserved only for certain people in your life. And then at the very end, where you just see all of that emotion on her
Right.
face,
Right.
she did an absolute wonderful job.
I'm glad you liked it.
I loved it.
I was so curious, you know, with these movies because that's the thing I learned too coming out of TIFF is there's so many incredible movies that we'll never get an opportunity to see because it's not going to be released in the US at the level of Fantastic Four or fucking,
Hollywood.
And
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
slow burn, you know? It's
It
definitely
is
a
Yeah.
a
slow
slow
burn.
burn, yeah. And it's just beautiful. We talked about it also, like just the beautiful scenery in that movie,
Yeah.
being in the Caribbean. I
And
believe he said he filmed in the Dominican Republic.
and
Yeah,
even though it's a slow burn, because I've made it very clear, I struggle with slower movies and like longer movies. It was so rewarding that I didn't even care. Like
sure, sure. It pays off.
I found myself looking at the time to make sure I still had more time. Like when it got
You
down to
wanted to
like,
spend more time with them.
yeah, so when it got to like, it was maybe, I remember it too, it was like minute 17. I had 17 minutes left. And I was like, that's it? Oh, dang it. It's like, shoot,
Sure.
that went by too fast. Yeah.
Speaking of time, we should probably move on to the next
Sorry.
movie. No, that's great. I mean, it's deserving of conversation.
It definitely
Um,
deserves the recognition. Yeah.
Another film I got to speak to the director Carla Badillo and actress Natalia Solian for Oka, which was a Mexican film that takes place in central Mexico. You both got a chance to check that one out?
Yes.
I didn't get to watch the whole thing. That's another one I had to like, telling you, this has been the stupidest week of my life.
We're gonna go to the tape, see how many times that excuse comes up. Adrian, tell us, what did you think of Oka?
Okay, well, let's go through the letterbox first, and
Yes,
then we'll
thank
go
you.
through it.
See, attaboy, attaboy.
So we'll go Oka 2025, directed by Carla Badillo. Rafaela, a young nun from a struggling congregation, sets out to find the archbishop in a nearby town. As she travels, unsettling dreams and surreal encounters unfold like a game of chance, challenging her faith and desires. With each twist, she must decide whether to advance toward her goal or retreat to the safety of her old life. Will the journey lead her to her destiny or pull her astray?
So this one is a little bit has very abstract it's even filmed very differently than a typical movie. So I'm curious, what
Mm.
did you think, Adrian, as far as like what was happening and what like the story, what it represented? There's a lot of metaphor in this movie. So what were your thoughts? You had to have your brain on for this one, I think.
Yeah, the brain was definitely on, and I watched it 1.5 times, and I think I need to revisit it a full time and like sit um, with it to fully grasp some of the metaphors that they were using.
Mm,
Um, it was it was very interesting in human nature and the balance between that and religion and like their ideas of penitence, but still being just bad, ugly, evil people, uh,
Interesting.
can be. Um, I guess that's the whole basis around the religion. So throwing the nun in there, and her, uh, I don't want to spoil it because at the end, how it all unravels and comes
Well,
together,
I
really.
think we can say ultimately the foundation is there's this nun who has visions, premonitions, right? And it seems to be that she has them when it appears like she's asleep, right? So there is, and these premonitions have come true in the past. At least that's how the movie starts with
It's
that
the
basis, right?
natural, like difference, like discernment, right? Like, are you being guided by God's will, or are you being guided by
You're
your own
selfish,
intentions, right?
right?
Like, so that's the common balance that they're playing with the entire time,
Correct.
and
Across
it's
different characters too.
correct, and it's
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful.
But I feel like that is so important, right? Because
Hmm.
say today you have someone that comes up to you and said, I've had this vision from God. This is what he told me, yada, 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 right? It's that fine line of like, is he really being told something by God, or is he having hallucinations and he's mentally ill?
Sure.
So, and you have to also remember too that God is very unforgiving in the Bible. It's fairly violent in certain areas. And so kind of to what you're saying of like that penitence of like how they choose to go about things. You have to realize that they're really reflecting, and sometimes there's scenarios where they take it very literally of like this is what you need to do in order to absolve your sin. So
Hmm.
especially if there's somebody who's having like premonitions and they're not necessarily like, it's very hard to distinguish, okay, is this the work of the devil or is this the work of God? It's
And that's
very,
ultimately kind of what this movie deals with, like interpretation of faith, and everyone has their own
yeah,
interpretation of faith. And even to Adrian's point at the end, even our main protagonist, we also question that. No, that's not. It's just we
Okay,
also
okay.
question like we also question like her interpretation of faith. Like everyone's
yeah.
interpretation of faith is on display here, and she goes on this journey down this dangerous road, and even that road itself um exposes people for who they are, I think,
So
as they go on this
that
journey.
was a part of stuff that I don't understand because the way they use certain characters to explain the journey,
Mm,
and how dangerous it is, especially for women. I couldn't tell if it was like, um, if those were some of the metaphors. So I have to go back and revisit like specific conversations that were happened
sure.
and then why they were kind of going on in that
I,
context.
I I told Carla when I was speaking with her, like she has such beautiful poetic writing in the script. Like there's so many lines that I mean, the way the movie opens up about like the wind, and if the wind is at God's will, it pushes us to where we're supposed to be. Things that
Right.
she said it much better than I just did. But how they talk about, oh, this road is dangerous for women, and I think the person or they're talking to is a woman, and she says everywhere is dangerous for women. You know what I mean? So
Right.
there's a lot of like different lines in this movie that like really resonate to today. And I thought the way it was shot was very unique. Again, it gives it kind of that dreamy feeling where you're questioning, did this really happen? Is this part of her vision? Is this real life? Is this whatever, whatever? So, okay, you enjoyed it, Adrian, eh?
I did enjoy it.
How far did you make it, Erica?
I'm like maybe 40 minutes in.
Okay, about halfway
So
or
like
so.
I'm enjoying it
Okay.
still, but I need to finish it. Like like I said,
All right.
it's been crazy,
We'll have
but
what we'll have to do like a specific like spoiler conversation once you finish it. Just
yeah.
because that, again, the way it ends, I think is very up for interpretation.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Next, we have well, let me do this. Erica, did you see any other ones?
No. I'm telling
Movies?
you, there's
No.
been days
Okay.
where I've been going from like
It's okay.
12 p.m. to like 10 p.m. So
Me and Adrian will hold it down. Me and Adrian will hold it down.
You guys
And you
got
can let us know if it sounds like something you're interested in checking out. Okay, so next one, let's go to let's do Eagles of the Republic. Adrian, I fortunately got to talk to the director and lead actor here, director Tariq Saleh and lead actor Faris. Two incredibly awesome guys. Shout out to them. They're very friendly. We talked off mic beforehand for a while. I got to ask a question about Pink Floyd. So if you guys know me, it was great because it's incorporated in the movie. I don't know if you caught that, Adrian, in the movie.
It was,
yeah. So I had to bring it up. But anyways, go ahead. Letterboxd description for Eagles of the Republic.
2025, directed by Tariq Saleh. Egypt's most adored actor, Georges Fahmy, is pressured to star in a film commissioned by the highest authorities. He reluctantly accepts the role and finds himself thrown into the inner circle of power. Like a moth drawn to the flame, he begins an affair with the mysterious wife of the general overseeing the film.
I will say that description spoils a little bit.
It does.
It spoils a little bit. I mean, not like main points, but
the whole affair thing, like when you're watching the movie,
I didn't know that what happens.
Yeah. I felt it, like the way they were looking at each other and stuff. Like you do, it foreshadows like, oh, they're
sure.
Adrian's
so,
like,
Erica, this movie
feel that
is
tension?
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you didn't.
I mean, you know, we were talking off mic about kind of eyes people give, and you know, those eyes were shared between the two of them. But this movie has everything. I mean, if you put it into one single genre, I guess you would say like a political thriller. But it covers so many dynamics: family dynamics, propaganda within the government, corruption, homosexuality. You know, they cover a lot in this movie, and I felt that it did it pretty seamlessly. Like it doesn't feel chaotic and that they're overreaching. I think they're able to contain everything in a single solid story. As you see this, you know, it's like, let's say like a Tom Cruise, maybe equivalent to the US, and he has to do like a US propaganda film, but he's opposed to it internally. And his life is at risk, or his family's life is at risk if he doesn't comply. So how do you kind of navigate that? And so, the different powers at play taking place in Egypt.
It definitely feels like dictatorship kind of a thing, you know, like the whole time I'm watching it, it's based in Egypt, but it feels like a Middle Eastern, like Syria, you know, type of deal.
I mean, I feel like it could happen anywhere. Really. I mean, look at what's been happening. I mean, I didn't want to come back from Toronto because of all the shit happening in the US, and then Jimmy Kimmel just got pulled, right, for like a very light comment compared to things that are on TV. Like, it's very crazy times here in the US. And I think this is
more like
alludes it could happen anywhere.
Though. It just feels like it felt like Soviet Union. Like when you're watching the Olympics and you're like, ooh, they just lost. Like that guy's gonna be killed. You know what I mean? That's the vibe. And so he's trying to act and
high stakes
portray, you know, high stake, you know, personnel, and the propaganda that goes involved in. If you're making a movie about the president, how are you portraying that president?
And how is the president wanting you to portray it? And it's not coming directly from the president, but henchmen he has ingrained in the film production, on the streets. Like people are watching you, following you.
I'm
and in the meantime,
like
they're watching your family. You know,
you gotta, Eric. I think you'll dig it. It's like
right up my alley.
Yeah.
Each scene feeds into the next scene, and like you're on edge, but it's also charming. Like Faris, who plays George in the movie, like he's very charming, I think. So like you empathize with him, even though he's not necessarily making the best decisions, specifically around his family.
I don't think Erica's gonna enjoy him as a character.
Well, sure. That's all right, but it's okay. Like it goes into the story. You know, I think by the end you'll feel something.
I'm gonna identify with the wife who's having an affair.
Sure. Or the ex-wife that he has. I mean, there's a few people that he talks to in this movie. But you enjoyed it, Adrian?
Yeah.
Or what did you think? Yeah.
It was definitely a rush. Like it kind of gave me that feeling of was that Gemstone with Adam Sandler, like
Uncut
Gems. It kind of gave me that same like angst as I'm watching it. Like, oh man, you should not have done that. Like, ooh.
That's a great segue to a movie that's going to come up on my TIFF rankings. That it feels even more like that, but we'll talk about that. Yeah, Eagles of the Republic. I really enjoyed it. The third act goes to a place that I didn't necessarily see coming, but now that I look back, I guess again there was foreshadowing that it was going to get escalated to like a certain level. And in talking to Tariq about it, the director, he also said like when I got to the third act, it kind of just happened, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go down this rabbit hole, and like this is where it's going." So you can kind of feel that in the movie too, because it definitely like takes a jump up. So yeah, Erica, check it out. I'm curious, we'll follow up and see what you thought. Lastly, the following movie is one that I've been telling people is my favorite of TIFF. Spoiler alert to my rankings, but Irkalla, Gilgamesh's Dream.
So I'll take it back, because earlier when we were talking off, I was like, I don't know if I gave any of the movies we saw 4 stars, but this was the one. So this is my favorite of the 4 that we watched. Yeah,
Give us the description.
I'll go through the description first. 2025, directed by Mohammed Al-Daraji. In Baghdad's streets, Chum Chum, a diabetic and dreamy 9-year-old, believes the tigress hides a gate to Irkalla, the underworld where he can revive his lost parents. As his friend Moody is pulled into a militia plot, Chum Chum must choose between myth and truth.
I'll just say, first off, my conversation with Muhammad was incredible. Unfortunately, we're in a large conference room, so the microphones didn't pick up everything. It sounds a bit distorted, which is a shame, because he was probably the most like passionate and raw person that I spoke to, as far as it was like us having a conversation. Like there was no camera, there was no mic. We were just talking about his experiences in Iraq and how, that inspired and transformed what his movie became. So the way I've described this, and Adrian, maybe you can tell me if this is accurate. It's like the never-ending story as far as the escapism, like the kid in that movie escapes through like a book, and it kind of transcends reality and not. It's like that without that level of fantasy. It's much more grounded, real drama, but it has the elements of using your imagination to escape.
Yes. Man, it's hard to escape a life like that. So
yeah. I mean, because
Never
we're
Ending
focusing,
Story doesn't kind of give it enough.
It's not that heavy.
The gravity of the life that these children are in.
It's a community of homeless children, and we zero in specifically on these
orphans,
2 kids,
because
right?
their families have been killed due to war.
Correct. Right. And they're living on this like, on a boat, right? Isn't it like they're on like a boat there in the Tigris but anyways,
the river.
Yeah. And they have this teacher who's also like their bus driver and like has no patience for them at the beginning. And at the beginning, you're kind of like, she's
also lost her family and gone crazy too. So,
but we don't know that until later on when we start to empathize with her and things convey where like we see her perspective better as the movie goes on. You know what I mean? But the performances are so raw. In my conversation with Muhammad, he told me, and I guess I can convey this to you, Adrian, since you saw it. Moody, the kid who's kind of more of like, he's like the bigger brother to Chum Chum and looking after him. That's the director's nephew. And he kind of was like, he was kind of asking him like, oh, let me be in the movie. Let me be in the movie. And he was kind of reluctant to it. And he told him, okay, you know what? Go beg, go steal on the streets, and I'm going to watch you. And he made his nephew like in the streets go and like steal, beg, whatever. And he's watching from a distance in a camera, make sure he's all right. And once he did that and convey that, he's like, you don't know how to beg. You don't know how to do this. You need to be able to do that if you want a part in this movie. And sure enough, he was incredible. I mean, him and Chum Chum were both incredible. And I feel like this movie, by the end, tell me this again, it's no spoilers, but did it move you to any like emotional state where you were crying at the end? Did you feel, what did you think?
I wasn't crying, but I was definitely emotional throughout the movie. Like, It
How
hits
was it framed?
hard. It does hit hard. Like,
You know.
um, it got me to a point where I'm thinking like, man, is it just because they're in a third world country that their life is like this? And then I'm thinking like, nah, I mean, this happens in the US. Like, this happens in every
It
country.
happens because
There's
of the US.
right,
You know, like
right. This happens in every country,
yeah, to
but
different degrees. Yeah.
I would say to the same degree. It's just to what degree is it seen?
Mm,
You know, like
mm, mm, mm.
normally these kids and even in their own culture, like they're forgotten, they're ignored. And even in our culture, like they're ignored. Like
Yeah.
you think the inner city
I
kids aren't
mean,
struggling, you know?
yeah, I mean, that's like a testament to what you were saying on like even having his nephew go and beg and saying, "You don't know how to beg and you don't know how to ask for things." And like that's a
Mm-hmm.
testament to the film itself right there is like there's a level of us being removed of like not really understanding like the desperation that you have to have in those
Mm-hmm.
scenarios in order to, survive, in order to get food, in order to have a drink of water,
Yeah.
it's really it is sad. It is sad that
in the
it's
lack of
every
humanity, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
Yeah, and
mhm.
I asked Mohammed like why, there's obviously a lot of different struggles people are going through around the world, and obviously specifically Iraq. You want to make a movie on that, but why the homeless children community? Like, why was that your focus? And he said in so many words, like, if you don't really have homeless children the way you do in Iraq in the U.S. because there's safety nets. The government will, there's orphanages, there's foster parents, like different
Right.
systems in place,
Mhm.
and that's not the case over there. So they just have to, like you kind of said, Adrian, grow up and survive by any means necessary. And I just really appreciate the subtlety to the fantasy as far as Chum Chum's imagination, and he's trying to reach to Gilgamesh, find Gilgamesh to
As a
help
diabetic 9-year-old.
help. And that's another layer of complexity that comes up, right? And he's just trying to do everything he can to resurrect his parents, which in itself, the premise is incredibly moving. By the end, I asked you the emotional part because by the end, I was crying. And they were tears of both like anger, frustration, sadness, as well as like beauty, hope, and inspiration. It's so like the way it ends is so beautiful. I can get goosebumps just talking about it now. Erica, watch this movie. This is both of me and Adrian's favorite of the four.
Yeah, like
And
I said,
I want to hear what you think.
today's my, like, rest and relaxation, like, I have nothing going on today, so I'm gonna
Sweet.
be watching the rest of the movies and then doing some
It
homework.
Awesome. I
Chum
love it. I
Chum's
love it. Uh
like faith is so beautiful to see for sure.
yeah.
Like, and that's what
Yusuf
the
Al
whole
Tahabi
movie is
is
on.
actor's name.
It's his faith.
Yeah. And another thing, so like I was just saying, his Yusuf Al Tahabi is his name, and Muhammad again was speaking to, the kid in real life, is very shy, and very like kind of reserved or whatever. And he pushed him and like brought up some things and like really got him to a point where like he lost control and the kid just like went off and he's like, all right, there it is. Like, I love the way Muhammad approaches directing. He's like, we need something real, like
Yeah.
give me something real. And his approach to the kids sounded like it paid off. That felt like a very grounded, raw movie, considering it's also partly fantastical. It's not over the top fantastical. Again, I want to stress that it's not never ending story. I just bring that up as far as like escaping into from something, right? Uh, so those were the four movies that I got to speak to either director or actors. There's some other interviews that are coming along the way as well. As I mentioned, Wrong Husband, that interview is available now. So you can go to our website, Seeing This Pod, if you want to check out my review on that movie and see my interview with Zacharias Kunis. But next, I'm going to give you guys my ranking of the TIFF films I've seen. Now, keep in mind, this list is going to grow because I'm still catching up and getting screeners from some of these films. I just watched one that's kind of lower on my list, but we'll get there. But as of now, my TIFF ranking has how many movies on it? 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 28. So I have 28 movies here. Okay.
Well, let's hear your top
We're
10.
going to go
Yeah.
from the bottom up, and you don't want to hear all of them, huh? I'll just run through it. I'll run through it. I'll make it quick. Okay. I know our time. Don't worry. 1.5 stars. Magellan. My boy Gael Garcia Bernal. It hurts that it was too slow. It just didn't do for me. Aki is a documentary that really wants to be Baraka. If you guys have seen the Baraka documentary, but it's really more of like a white noise. Good to fall asleep to. Sorry. Ballad of a Small Player, Colin Farrell movie. What? Just disjointed, and I have no empathy for this guy. Where's the redeeming factors? 2 stars. Sorry. Little Lorraine, Lifetime movie masquerading as a thriller. Didn't do it for me. 2 stars there. Eleanor the Great, Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut. Wow. There's a lot of potential, and it's intentioned well to be sweet and thoughtful about grief, but it just strikes a single note. It's very flat, lacks dynamicism. 2.5. Sorry. I Swear. So this is the one about a Scottish kid who has Tourette's, right? Now, I just struggled with this movie because they use the disability as like a laugh line, like for comedic purposes. And I understand doing that once or twice. I mean, we've talked about that TV show, right?
Bailing out loud.
Right. I have a hard time when it's used multiple times for the joke. And I feel like they did that a few too many times, and I Swear. Well-intentioned again. You kind of see where the movie is going with its beats. 2.5 stars. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. This is the Rose Byrne movie, also featuring Conan in his first feature film. And it's an A24 film, so it does attempt to be abstract, but it also is like, what? Like, when you get to the end of what kind of her issue is, anxieties about motherhood, it doesn't really connect. It's not very cohesive in the way I was hoping. 3 stars. The Currents. It is a slow burn, and it is you got to sit with it. It moves a bit slow. The performance is incredible by Isabella Sola. She does a great job where this woman is dealing with her own anxieties, gives herself to a river, and then we kind of go from there when she, her recovery process and what her real trauma is, which, again, not really spoiler alert, but it takes us a while to get there, and it's something that we've all dealt with. Parental generational trauma. 3 stars. It Was Just an Accident. This was by Jafar Panahi, who is well known in the international community. It's a bit of a thriller. It's a bit of a comedy. I feel like it couldn't pick a lane in which tone it wanted to be. So to me, it felt a bit disjointed. It was very heavy in moments, but then it's also very like playful, which is fine, but it just felt like 2 separate tones. So 3 stars there. Dust Bunny. This is Mads Mikkelsen movie. It's like a horror movie for kids, but it's not for kids because it can also be quite violent and uses curse words. So I'm not sure who the audience is. It's like Guillermo del Toro meets Wes Anderson meets Rian Johnson's writing. And I'm allergic to 2 of the 3, so it's no surprise it took me to the 3rd act to finally be like, okay, cool. Like, all right. So 3.5 for that one. Honey Bunch. Weird sci-fi about what you would do to keep your loved one alive. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's got Substance energy. It's got Mickey 17 energy, but it also feels overcooked yet underbaked, if that's possible. Okay. 3.5 stars for Honey Bunch. Big one. Yeah. Erica, I'd be curious on that one for you to watch and see what you think. I think you would love it.
Yeah, because you said you said Substance and then you said Mickey 17, and those are very different movies. But if it's like a combo of the both,
there's like a lot of things. There's a lot of tones.
Okay.
So I'm curious if you ever get a chance to see that, what you think. Frankenstein. This is Guillermo del Toro, speaking of the devil. His latest film with Oscar Isaac playing Dr. Frankenstein, and then you have Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein. You have Mia Goth as a character she was born to play. If you like Guillermo del Toro, you're going to love this movie. it is a bit heavy-handed as far as like the messaging, and it really makes sure you understand that monsters have feelings, which is what he does in all of
He's
his
not a
movies.
monster. He's Frankenstein's creature. Sorry.
Damn. I'm gonna assume you said wonderful things because I couldn't hear you. You cut out.
No. Dang
Yeah,
it.
you're
I think
delayed.
I'm
But
delayed.
let's hope again in the edit it works out. That's a sign I gotta run through this. So yeah, Frankenstein, if you like Guillermo del Toro, you'll love that. Hamnet, which ended up winning the People's Choice for Best Feature Film at TIFF, which is like the large prize that comes out of TIFF. This is the story about William Shakespeare and how he developed the play of Hamlet, which if you're really well versed with Shakespeare, I think you're really going to connect with this movie and it's going to resonate with you. By the end, there was plenty of tears and sniffling in the theater. Did it hit me that way? No, they both, it both covers a lot of ground in his life, but also speeds through like some pretty, what I would imagine, significant moments in his life. But it's a good film. Anything with a 3.5 and above, by the way, I would recommend. So that was what? Dust Bunny, Honey Bunch, Frankenstein, Hamnet, all 3.5. Now, the 4 stars, baby. Powwow People. This is a documentary, and pretty much he just takes us to a powwow that's taking place in Seattle. Various indigenous people, Native Americans come to this powwow in Seattle, and it does a great job of kind of blending historical, cultural aspects of a powwow while also seeing people in like Nike Cortezes or like Jordans or like, so it's very real, and you're kind of just invited to this powwow. And let me say, the native folks, indigenous people on TikTok and Instagram have really been liking the content I did, my instant reaction to this. So shout out to them because it's just a real experience. And if you've never been to a powwow, look up your local powwow. They're very inclusive, welcoming everyone. They even mentioned like there's a trans dancer for the powwow, and like they're welcome. And it's just awesome to see that level of community. So Powwow People, 4-star. Next, I can't get this goddamn song out of my head. Degrassi, Whatever It Takes, the documentary about Degrassi, the various generations of
I think
Degrassi.
Degrassi.
Degrassi, yes. People yelled at me about Degrassi.
I saw
Degrassi. That. Yeah, it's all right. Listen, we all have our accents, okay? Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, Adrian.
Yes.
If you watch Degrassi, now it feels funny because I'm consciously. Anyways, if you watch Degrassi growing up, it was important. They cover a lot of heavy stuff, and especially for a teenager, you don't necessarily have a show that goes there. And this documentary reminded us of all the heavy topics it covers, about self-harm, eating disorders, coming out, like just everything. And it covers it. Wonderful documentary. It does get pretty heavy in certain areas, which I didn't think it would. Of course, Drake is in it. I'll just leave it at that. Next, John Candy, I Like Me. If you're a fan, if you're a millennial or older and you enjoy John Candy, like what a beautiful documentary. It feels like you're amongst friends talking about a friend that passed. Covers some of his demons,
That's
some of the things
literally what
with.
it is.
Yeah, it's all I hear is your laugh, Erica. I don't know what you said, but it looked like it was a good one.
We're like intently trying to read your lips, and it's not happening.
And it's a shame because I know it's gonna come.
Literally what the movie is friends talking about a friend who passed.
Ah, and there she goes. We lost you, Erica. It finally happened. Try to rejoin us or at the John Candy. All right. I think we are at just about our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to say we're at our top 10 because there's 2 that I didn't rank, and I'll get to that. So top 10 here. Wrong Husband. I mentioned that. Inuit lifestyle, looking at this life where 2 people were promised to each other for marriage, and something happens where she's been taken away. And we see like a literal spiritual warfare take place in a battle to reunite their love. Very awesome storytelling, creative. Again, won Best Canadian Feature at TIFF. Got to talk with Zacharias, I've mentioned before, so check that out. Next, I have Under the Same Sun, number 9, 4 stars. We talked about it. great movie. I hope that's one that I get to revisit because again, all of these I would like to revisit. Number 8, Oka. We talked about that one. And number 7, The Cost of Heaven. So Adrian, this is the one I was talking about where I was like, if you want those uncut gems vibes,
Yeah.
this is that without the Hollywood flair to it. You know what I mean? This is like real life uncut gems. Like a guy gets in a bad financial situation, no real fault of his own to start off, and then he makes some bad decisions and the story progresses and you're locked in the whole way. It's like it goes to extremes. I'll just say that. We'll have to find a way for you to watch that because I think you would dig it. Number 6, The Captive. This is the story about Miguel Cervantes, considered one of the best writers of all time. At first, some of the aesthetics and costumes put me off to feel like it was it didn't look real. It felt more like cosplay a little bit. But we end up seeing the script come to life as we follow Cervantes and the power of storytelling. Very well done. I really enjoyed that movie by the end. It was very rewarding. I think you'd like that one also, Adrian.
Yeah, it sounds like I'd be up my alley.
Yeah. Number 5, Bad Apples. This was probably the most fun movie that I watched. And what I mean by that is Saoirse Ronan plays a teacher. And as a teacher, if you are a teacher, you can relate that there's problem children in your class. And if you could think of like the worst inclination you would have to handle that bad problem child, this movie goes there. So think School of Rock meets like I mean, but even a bit darker, like meets like Silence of the Lambs, but in a good way. Like it's hard to really explain. Okay. Yeah. So Bad Apples, keep an eye out for that. Number 4, Eagles of the Republic. We talked about that. Had a lot of fun with that movie, and it's important. I think it's an important movie. Easy's Waltz. Vince Vaughn doing a take at his dramatic chops. Does phenomenal. He's a Las Vegas lounge singer who's trying to make it. Finally breaks through. Finally gets a break, but the problem is the person giving him the break is Al Pacino. And Al Pacino is full on Al Pacino in Easy's Waltz. So I really enjoyed that one. Really good movie. Number 2, Dead Man's Wire. Bill Skarsgård plays a man that takes a loan, the son of a loan company, takes him hostage. And this is a real life story. This really happened. So this is one of those based on a true story. I wasn't aware of it. It's both a thriller, but very charming and funny in moments. And it's very good at replicating the time, the era, the costumes. It takes you back to, I believe, the 70s when this happens. Bill Skarsgård is climbing the charts. Like next time he's on a movie we can draft, I'm telling you now, I'm going for it. He's great. And then lastly, Irkalla, Gilgamesh's Dream. I think all things considered, that was my favorite out of TIFF. Yeah. There's just nothing like it. I just don't think we've seen anything necessarily like it. And it's incredibly moving, effective, and all that. 2 movies to mention really quick, both regarding stories out of Palestine. Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk. Both of these I didn't review or leave a rating because I felt because they deal with real life situations and real life ongoing genocide, that I just need to mention that Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk is essentially a documentary where the filmmaker is FaceTiming this photojournalist or aspiring photojournalist, Fatima Hasuna, in Palestine. And it's as if she's like, it's filmed and feels like you're just checking in on a friend that's going through the genocide in Palestine. And they go, how are you? Da, 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 da. Some of the questions the filmmaker asked and her approach rubbed me the wrong way because she's like, oh yeah, I'm here in France and then I'm going to be traveling to Italy and like, oh yeah, I'm by the beach. And it's like you're talking to someone that has bombs literally falling all around you. That her dream is to have a bite of chocolate. You know what I mean? So that,
a little insensitive.
A little bit, but she's also, from an older generation that maybe those things don't necessarily register. Like the intention was really good. But the main point is that we see day-to-day life and the struggles that the internet cuts out. And you get that, just like Erica dropping off right now. Imagine that happening all the fucking time on a FaceTime, and like the challenge of being able to get out what's happening in Palestine. And then, the conclusion, it's not a spoiler because it's real life. She ends up being killed. Her building, her family gets bombed on, and that's how the movie ends. So very powerful. And lastly, a movie that I really hope takes off, should win Best Picture, The Voice of Hind Rajab. Incredibly moving, incredibly powerful. I think, Adrian, if you end up seeing this movie as a girl dad, you will cry. This one will get you, because the movie does a very interesting approach as far as blending actual audio footage of this young girl that's in preschool on the phone calling emergency services because she's trapped in her car. Everyone in the car is dead. And you hear guns blast, everything happening on this actual phone recording to the emergency services. And it looks at the system in place of these emergency services and what they have to do to rescue people. And what they have to do requires the cooperation of the Israeli army. And that's the system in place. It proceeds. By the end of the movie, everyone sat through the credits because you had to sit there with it.
Yeah.
I mean, wipe your face, reflect on what's happening. The mayor of Toronto was in attendance, and by the end of it, there was a woman that stood up and said, she's complicit because she increases the budget to Israel's GPS. I believe that's what she said. It all happened kind of fast. It's very much a protest movement, and essentially started yelling at her, calling shame, shame. And like everyone in the audience started shame, shame to the Toronto mayor that was there in attendance. So very, very emotional, very important, very resonant because this is happening right now. You know what I mean? So The Voice of Hind Rajab, to say, is my favorite. Like I feel weird even saying like it's a favorite or the best or the most well done, but it's the most important. I think those two movies I mentioned are the most important, and I really hope everyone gets a chance to see The Voice of Hind Rajab, as well as Put Your Soul in Your Hand and Walk. With that being said, survived TIFF. I'm happy to be back.
Sounds
It
like
was a
quite
lot.
the event.
It was a lot. It was quite the roller coaster. So you and Erica need to start saving up for next year.
I'm looking forward to it.
We got to do it. We got to do it. It'll be quite an experience, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. Erica, we got to figure out your internet situation. Let's see. She texts us and won't let me come back in. Surprise, surprise. For Erica, we'll sign off saying, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, be a part of our tribe. You can find all of our socials, Seen This Pod, across Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, Letterboxd, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and
Spotify.
Make sure to follow us along. We got all kinds of different content across the mediums. And on the website, seenthispod.com, I'm writing reviews to the movies that I've seen at TIFF, which also include the interviews for some of them where I got a chance to talk with filmmakers or actors. All the interviews are YouTube exclusive. They're only going on YouTube, so make sure that you follow, subscribe on YouTube. And until next time, stay safe.